Good morning and welcome to this, the fifth edition of ACEDS Blog Live with George Socha. We've done this for obviously 5 weeks now, changing out the format each time a little bit. And this week, what we're going to do is bring on board with me two of my new colleagues, Wendell Jisa, who is CEO at Reveal, and Leib, who is Executive Vice President, Innovation and Strategy. Before they join us, a couple of notes for you. You will note or should note there is a comment column. We welcome your comments. The more comments you give to us, the more we can figure out how to talk about things that actually matter or are of interest to you. And then secondly, before I bring them online, Jay was so kind as to point out to me that I need to update my headset. So, should anybody have recommendations for a better quality headset than this $20 pair I had sitting around and just started using, I welcome all suggestions. With that, I would like to turn this over to Wendell. Wendell, as I said, is the CEO at Reveal. He brings 20 years of technology and service experience to that position, starting out as the founder and CEO of Landmark, and then after that was co-founder of Reveal, where he has been since then, and where I am very pleased to have just recently joined him.
Thanks, George. Hi, Jay. Yeah, I think that what's most important about this right now is yet again announcing that you have joined Reveal as Senior Vice President of Brand Awareness, bringing your experience and your ability to help shepherd Reveal into our next generation technology objective. And I think that having you to go out there and be the voice and the face of this company is incredibly important to me personally, but also everyone else that's involved with Reveal. And secondly, having you involved with our development team and a strong voice on where that product heads is also important. So thank you for welcoming me, but I want to welcome you again to Reveal because I couldn't be more excited.
Well, thank you very much, Wendell, and I am quite excited as well. I spent 4 months looking at where I wanted to go next in my career. And I just wanted to share some of the thoughts about why it is that I ended up at Reveal instead of any of the various other options out there. Part of it is, we'll start with something that ties into the picture behind me here. If you look over my head there is a batik on the back wall. It is a piece of cloth with the picture on there formed by painting layers of wax, applying dye, scraping off or melting out the wax, and applying new dye. That I have had with me since I returned from West Africa in 1983, where I was a Peace Corps volunteer. Part of what I have been trying to do throughout my career with the creation of EDRM and a number of other areas is to figure out how to give 15 minutes back. What I mean by that, I worked for about 15 years on a set of fight for the company and life lawsuits. We went through a succession of in-house counsel because for most of them, they looked at that responsibility as a potential career killer rather than career enhancer and moved on to other things as quickly as they could. I was having lunch with the then most recent in-house attorney who said to me, you need to understand where the money that pays you comes from. We spend a lot of money on your law firm. We'd be spending more if it were a law firm from either coast, but it's a lot of money. It doesn't come out of the share price. We hope it never does. It doesn't come from the pockets of senior management, and I doubt it ever will. It comes from the pocket of that poor worker who at the end of the week, instead of going off to a bar, a ball game, a restaurant, home to family and friends, has to stay at work for yet another hour. figuratively, of course, but stay at work for yet another hour. What I've been trying to do each step of the way is figure out how to improve how we conduct the process of litigation, especially discovery and especially e-discovery, so that that person can go home 15 minutes earlier. And one way to do that, takes me to the next point, is focusing on the software side of things, because the better the software, the more effective it is at helping attorneys and allied professionals achieve the objectives they need to accomplish in litigation, the better the chances that at least some of that 15 minutes, and who knows, maybe even 25 minutes, gets given back. So I was looking for a software provider to join. Having worked in a couple law firms, having worked at a service provider, I thought that was a great next step. But I wasn't looking for just any software provider. I wanted a well-positioned one, which was what took me to Reveal in particular. Little did I know, and we'll come to this in a moment, by my foreshadowing here with the introduction of Jay, little did I know at that time, and as I was initially talking with Reveal, the Reveal was in the process of acquiring NextLP. This ties us to, but even without that, part of what drew me to Reveal was where they were going with the technology they'd developed, with the acquisitions they'd made, the look and feel of the platform, the sense I got of the organization and the people working there as a place that was, again, well positioned to make some major strides moving forward. And it was, to the second to last point, a company going places. And with the acquisition of NextLP, even more going places. Finally, what was I looking for? And in some ways, the most important part, an organization with great people, a great culture, because without that, none of those other things are going to happen anyway. And really, who wants to work at any other type of place than that? So with that and the why I joined Reveal done, I'm going to turn the mic back to Wendell, who can then, again, our little bit of foreshadowing, introduce Jay. And by the way, I still don't see any recommendations for headsets.
Thanks, George. Yeah, I think it's definitely important not to ignore Jay. If I do ignore Jay, I'm sure he'll be the first person to send me a private chat. So with that, one of the really neat things about what we're doing at Reveal right now is we're building something great. And I truly believe that great people need great technology, and great technology needs great people. And I've been fortunate enough to meet Jay a couple of years ago. We actually officed out of the same building here in Chicago, and we got to know each other. Our teams got to know each other. We worked together. We partnered together. We integrated together. And as things progressed, it became more and more evident that if Reveal was going to take the next step to lead the charge and introduce a completely new next generation e-discovery platform that is powered by artificial intelligence, we needed to have the best artificial intelligence in the industry, and that's where Jay comes in. So welcoming Jay and the acquisition of NextLP to Reveal was probably one of the highlights of my career, and the things that I've achieved. But what's been great about it is just the leadership and the mind that he brings to the table. I've never met anyone who thinks more creatively than Jay with regard to where the technology needs to go. And I'm really excited. So with that, Jay Leib's joining us as well. And he is our Executive Vice President of Innovation and Strategy, working with both development and sales and marketing to make sure that George and myself are doing the right things and being in front of the right people to take Reveal to the top of the pile.
Well, thanks, Wendell. Very humbling, the kind words you say. But I want to do a little bit of a love fest for George here. Back in the day, the early days of e-discovery, we were all in the wilderness, and there was someone in a George as well as Tom. I want to give credit to Tom as well, but George was really brought us out of the wilderness. George, with the vision and the thought leadership around the EDRM, was able to take just our humble technology people and be able to help us connect to buyers by giving a common discussion platform around what are we trying to accomplish together as an industry, software, technology, practitioners, lit support, all these together. What is the common platform we could talk about? And so, I was intimidated by George. I got to be honest. Years ago,
I never knew that part.
Absolutely,
not come across at all.
We would make a sojourn to the Twin Cities every year. George and Tom would be up there like rock stars, and they would ask us for assignments and push us, and it was just amazing. And
Well, it looks like we lost Jay right in the middle of
the froze there. Well, while we're waiting now he's back.
I'm back. I said some great things about you during that blip.
All the best things.
But and that's the thing at NextLP, we always wanted to dream big and execute fast, right? And when we had the opportunity to not only extend our partnership with Reveal, but actually joined forces, that's what really got us all pumped up. I'm someone that I don't like to have limits, right? We like to be able to push as hard as we can. And to George's point, how can we make the lives of our customers better, faster, easier? What can they do to accomplish more? And so that's what we challenge the data science team, the AI team, is how can we dream big, execute fast? And when we joined a team like Reveal that has the thought leadership and of Wendell, now bringing on George with the vision and kind of quiet confidence. We have brilliant people, including our CTO, Matthew. Really, the sky is the limit for what we can do to help our clients on a daily basis. Just get a little bit better, a little bit faster, and help their professional lives in whatever way we can do to contribute. Absolutely.
Jay, one of the things I remember from those meetings is your work on things like the search intent framework, and I believe you were pretty active in the search project as well, right?
The search project. Well, so many things. I still remember my Juicy Lucy hamburgers from back in the day of Minnesota as well. So a lot of good times in Minnesota. But yes, the search intent framework, which a lot of great people worked on. The CAR-M, which was kind of the first group that tried to put kind of the TAR framework, the TAR into a true framework for discussion and workflow, et cetera. So a lot of great people. Yes, I was part of it. I mean, I helped lead it, but a lot of great people, along the way on there. And, it was really, again, I go back to the EDRM. It was the forum that you and Tom created that allowed for creativity, kind of took the vendors out of it and put us as a community together. And that's why I'm just so excited and pleased. Again, it was a surprise to me as well that and an honor in my career to be now a colleague of yours, George. So first you were a rock star, and now you're a colleague, and I love it. I absolutely love it.
What could be better, right?
That's right. Headphones, better headphones.
I know. Well, I am getting some recommendations here. I'll look things up. But for the folks who are typing in, now's a good time. You've got Wendell here. You've got Jay here. We've got a few more minutes available. Anything you want to know from them? Let me know.
I'm listening to you two talk, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself how fantastic this is going to go. I know you guys were working on the product roadmap the other day with Matthew and Irina. I might even sit in on it, because when you think about what George did, Jay, reflecting on what you just said, now we're trying to do that again by leveraging the NextLP technology in combination with the Reveal platform. This is going to be powerful. This is going to be fun, which is really important. Creating something completely new all over again, George. It's like your your opus, right?
I got high hopes for this.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Lofty objectives, and we'll see how far we get with them, but I bet we're going to go a long way.
Yeah, absolutely, Wendell. We came out of it. I couldn't have been more pumped up coming out of a meeting. Like I said, dream big but execute fast, right? And what George brought to the table was perspective, right? Perspective from a variety of angles, both as a practitioner, as a thought leader, as a customer, as now someone understanding the realities of what you can accomplish as well. So just tremendous amount of very creative what he brought to the table for sure. And Dr. Mativa, Irina, who's our chief data scientist, we talked yesterday. We both came out so impressed with from the entire kind of combined team. Now it's like I'm a big superheroes guy. This is like the Avengers, right? All the greats coming together into united into one great team.
So I guess, Wendell, we need our reveal capes now.
Yeah, Halloween's coming up, right? From the reveal rocket ship to the reveal cape, I guess.
Yeah, well, only Doctor Strange has a cape, but that's. We have any video game people on the line here from this? Probably a lot of old friends on the and new friends as well on this ACEDS community. But anyone wants to hit me up on some technology or superhero talk? I'd love to do it. Oh, that's right. Video game. They caught me as well. Video games for sure. I think Wendell asked me every once in a while he asks, well, what did you do last night? I'll tell him I was playing video games, and it drives me nuts.
I've never been a big video game guy. Maybe Tech Mobile on Nintendo a long time ago. But other than that, I just fall asleep at my table.
That's a class. And that's the thing too. It's kind of funny. We talked back in the EDRM days, I got to think of some of the players there, but we talked about the kind of the gamification of e-discovery, of how do you incentivize reviewers to go just slightly faster to achieve. And we've actually, through the years, not just the NextLP and Reveal, but throughout the industry, we've added some of those elements into the design language of software. A little bit of gamification. How do you incentivize people with, from when you think of reports, a burn down chart, these are all kind of gamification elements to incentivize people to complete their task at hand, right? And so I love looking to video games for inspiration for software, for technology overall.
So, Jay, Sheila brings you a challenge then. Sheila, I'll reword slightly, but take that concept, Jay, and figure out how to weave it into tailored attorney training.
There is a lot of conversation in our office about the revealing of kind of a 2.0 certification program that we're not quite there yet to do the big reveal of it, but soon. Absolutely, Sheila. And that's why we have George as well. George's got to tell me, how difficult it is when I think it's easy.
That's, if it weren't difficult, someone else would have done it already anyway. And besides, if it were so easy, why bother trying? Find a more challenging objective.
That's right.
But when you think about that, I was thinking about that yesterday, Jake, because I know that you guys have been talking about it a lot. And George, this is where this is why it's perfect that you're part of Reveal now. We're going to be building this program, but it's truly building. It's not building a community. It's building a completely new direction and trying to redesign the way people are going. So we're starting from scratch on this and trying to help people use our technology to give them 15 minutes back, as you mentioned earlier in the blog, George, is what's so important. So it'll be fun. It'll be fun to figure out how we make this, eliminate the barrier of entry to use our AI within our e-discovery platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the challenges too, when you think of certification, is we at Reveal have clients all over the world on just about every continent, and you have to think about from a platform perspective, how can they read menus, right? How can they, right? How can they, things that come even from drop downs to modals that pop up. And then you think of like certification. How can we have it where it crosses culturally or it crosses language, etc.? And that's something we think quite a bit about is we have this global audience of the software, and how can we be able to talk to them, talk to our clients that makes sense for them.
And I think one of the challenges in there has been that so much of the discussion, at least within the United States, about what to do with respect to e-discovery has been tied to the federal rules of civil procedure, which apply. They're guidelines that apply in the federal courts. Every state has its own system. Then you go outside of the United States and everybody else has their own systems. And I think it is going to help so much to do what we're focusing on here, which is to go back to the, if you will, the core principles. What do we actually need to accomplish? How do we help move people more effectively to get to the point where they have a satisfactory resolution to their dispute, whatever the legal framework is, whatever the procedural rules might be? And then how do we put together a certification with that in mind? It's achievable, but it's a bit of a different focus.
And make it consistent. I go back to something that I feel is one of my strengths personally, and that's focus and consistency and transparency, and giving our customers the opportunity to get the information they need very clearly within what they need and understand it from the same perspective is really important. And a lot of people hadn't known about Reveal very much before some of our moves this past year. But the fact of the matter is we really started out over in Europe and backdoored our way back into the US. That was an intentional strategy for us to do, to sort of come in through Europe, and it's working. That's why I'd say at least 40% of our customers are international. And now with some of the moves we make in the US, we're starting to see the bigger organizations of the US use this. But I don't want to forget about where we came from. And that's why what you're talking about, George, is really important and personal for me.
Any final questions, comments from our audience? Otherwise, I'm going to let Wendell and Jay get back to work.
Everyone's thinking of some video game or superhero analogies to tease us with.
Well, I don't see any yet. So Wendell, Jay, thank you very much for joining me on this. For the folks who are participating, you may know this already, but this is recording. It'll be available live, and we will continue with these types of discussions with any number and a wide variety of folks, I hope, next Friday and the Fridays that follow. Thank you, Wendell. Thank you, Jay. Thank you, ACEDS. And of course, thanks to everyone who's joined us.
Yeah. Thanks, George. Have a great day.
Yeah. Thank you so much. Thanks, everyone.